It started with a choice. A simple, silent choice that changed everything. Not with shouting, not with blame, just with silence and a locked phone screen. Now imagine this. You're standing in the kitchen of your childhood home. Your mom's favorite flowers are on the windowsill. The scent of her perfume still lingers in the air, but she's gone. She passed away 6 months ago, and the man she married, not your dad, has barely spoken about her since the funeral. Then, one day, he texts, asks what you're doing for the day. It's the anniversary of her death, and you don't remind him. You just say, not much. That silence, that's the storm. Because this story, it's not just about grief, it's about memory. It's about loyalty, and it's about how sometimes not saying something can say everything. Let's rewind. The storyteller here is a 17-year-old girl. She lost her mom 6 months ago. Her relationship with her mom's husband, her stepfather, was always tense. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't violent. But he wasn't warm either. Their connection? Shallow. Transactional. He married her mom when she was young. And though they lived under the same roof for years, she never really felt like he saw her. When her mom was diagnosed with cancer, things got even colder. Her mom, despite being terminally ill, had one wish: that they all stay close, united, supportive. But instead, the house filled with silence, resentment, and emotional distance. After her mom died, the stepfather became even more withdrawn. He rarely mentioned her name, didn't cry, didn't ask how she or her brother were handling the loss. He just moved on, as if her mother had been a roommate who left the house and never came back. But here's where it gets layered. This 17-year-old, she noticed everything. She kept her grief quiet, didn't make a fuss, didn't scream or beg for comfort. She just observed and waited. 6 months later, the anniversary of her mother's death arrived, and her stepfather? He forgot. Completely. Texted her like it was any other day. And what did she do? She didn't remind him. She didn't guilt him. She just let him forget. Let him feel what it's like to live in a world where someone you love is simply not mentioned. He texted, "Hey, what are you up to today?" She replied, "Not much." Simple, quiet, brutal. Later that night, her stepfather texted again, this time furious. He'd realized the date, realized she hadn't reminded him, said he was hurt, that she didn't say anything, that she should have known this day would be hard for him. He told her she was cruel, unforgiving, cold. But here's the irony. That's exactly how she had felt for 6 straight months. So she stood her ground, said nothing, and went to bed with a strange feeling in her chest. Not victory, not guilt, just clarity. Let's pause here, because this story speaks volumes about grief, about invisible grief. We all grieve differently. Some people cry loudly, collapse in public, post tributes on social media. Others, they grieve by cleaning the house in silence, by standing in the frozen food aisle for 15 minutes because their mom used to buy the same brand of peas, by not reminding someone of a date that should already be engraved in their bones. It's easy to say, "You should have reminded him." It's easy to say, "Two wrongs don't make a right." But sometimes, not reminding someone is a form of remembrance, a way of saying, "I'm not going to carry this for both of us. I've been carrying this weight alone while you looked away." Now let's talk about accountability. This teenager wasn't trying to punish her stepfather. She wasn't playing mind games, She just stopped parenting his memory. She let him experience the consequence of emotional distance. And that's a powerful lesson. Sometimes, silence is not an absence of love, but a boundary. A way of saying, I'm done pretending we're okay. I'm done cushioning your guilt. So, was she the jerk? Let's think about that. Imagine being a 17-year-old girl who just lost her mother, living in a house that feels like a museum, with all the lights turned off. And the one adult left in the room, he's checked out, emotionally absent. And then you're expected to be the one who keeps the calendar of grief, who reminds him to remember, who performs the role of caretaker to his sadness. That's a heavy, unfair role for a teenager. It's not that she wanted revenge. She just wanted space to mourn without managing someone else's memory. So when he forgot, she let him. And in doing so, she told the truth without saying a word. Now, I want you to imagine the moment when he realized. Maybe he was scrolling through Facebook and saw a memorial post. Maybe it hit him like a punch, and maybe, for the first time, he felt it, felt her absence, felt what it's like to be forgotten. And maybe, just maybe, that's what he needed, a moment of discomfort, a wake-up call. Because grief, when ignored, doesn't disappear. It just waits in the shadows. It leaks into relationships, into silence, into cold kitchens and awkward car rides. Now, here's the real question. What happens next? Does this stepfather reflect? Apologize? Try to rebuild trust? Or does he retreat even further? Blame her for his pain and push her away? That's the part of the story we don't know. But we do know this. This young woman is brave. She stood her ground in the quietest way possible. Not with confrontation, not with cruelty, but with clarity. And that takes strength. Now here's where we land. This isn't just a story about forgetting. It's a story about being remembered, about the labor of grief, and about how, sometimes, choosing not to speak is how you reclaim your voice. So no. She's not the asshole. She's a teenager navigating heartbreak in a house full of shadows. And instead of screaming into the void, she made a choice to stop performing, to stop reminding, and to let someone else finally feel the weight of forgetting. Now I want to hear from you. Would you have reminded him? Do you think her silence was justified, or was it a quiet cruelty? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what you would have done. And if you've ever had to grieve someone alone, tell us how you carried that weight, because someone out there might need to hear it. Before I go, here's my take. As the narrator of AITA Stories, I read hundreds of these every week. And this one, it hit different. It reminded me that sometimes the most powerful statements are made in silence, and that young people, especially teens, are often forced to carry emotional burdens they never asked for. So if you're grieving, if someone forgot something important to you, you don't owe them the performance of your pain. You just owe yourself the space to feel it. Thanks for listening. This is AITA Stories, where silence speaks louder than blame. Until next time.